Liquid sunshine this morning. It's an old cliche, but when people talk about reinventing themselves, it's true. If you want to change some things in your life, you need to change some things in your life. Now, I'm not sure how this happened, but I'm a very different person than I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I was unfit and overweight by 2 stone. I was the first person in the pub, the last person to leave, often thinking I'd missed something. Something might be happening, it might be good without me. Sound familiar for some of us? I've always worked hard, partied even harder. When I went out, it was always go large or go home. Morning, Andrea. I didn't exercise. I saw exercise as a function that would wear my body actually down even quicker. So why would I want to do that? The little I do, the less I wear my body. But it is actually the other way around. Morning, Lindsay. When someone mentioned healthy eating, it was like they just swore at me. I worked continuously at peak performance and was constantly stressed beyond belief. I still work on that today. But you've got something to challenge you. I had no proper sleep pattern, often waking in the middle of the night, which I now know was anxiety brought on by stress. Morning, Mike. The worst thing I did was drink way too much, thinking it would help me relax, which it did at the time, but the next day's horrendous. And I was smoking cigars, inhaling them. Oh, jeez. So fast forward 5 years today, completely different picture. I'm not really sure if it's 5 years or no, it might be a bit more. Morning, David. Morning, Louise. Morning, Francis. I'm at my optimum weight. 5 years later, optimum weight, optimum blood sugar, optimum blood pressure, optimum cholesterol level, everything else is at optimum performance. I can take it or leave it at the pub, but when I do, I enjoy it more, even though I don't even drink now. That's amazing. If I'd known that now, I wouldn't have ever drunk in the beginning. I still work hard, but instead of partying, I channel my energies productively in a positive direction. I exercise regularly by swimming, running, cycling, and taking part in triathlons. And I feel I've got more energy now than I have when I was 21 years old. It's amazing. I eat plant-based foods, so my body gets all the natural good stuff. I still work continuously, but just below peak performance. I've spoken about that in the previous episodes, and pull out the bag when I need it and to work above peak performance. This method is a strategy to enable me to work more efficiently for longer without burning myself out. Exactly the same mentality as ultra runners use. And this is the one that I can't get my head around. I don't drink anymore. Bizarre. If you told me this 5 years ago, I'd say you're crazy. And I'd bet against everything that you ever thought I was going to change to now. So how on earth did I do that? Well, the truth be known, I think I was tricked into it by my friends at the pub. They invited me out for a pedal one day as a social thing with the boys, and I went along. It was great fun, and it was relaxing, it was sociable and enjoyable. There was no pressure, it wasn't full on, and it went on for a while. Then it started to get a bit competitive to see if we could go the fastest round the 10-mile loop that we were doing. So my fitness started to build over time without me even knowing it. Just small bits at a time. Remember, it wasn't all at once, it was over a couple of years. Baby steps. Almost so you didn't even notice that you were changing. Then some of us started walking again, and this gradually built up over time to longer distances. Again, it was all quite social. Now, I used to be a cross-country runner at school. Nothing special, but I really liked it. And I began to feel that I could maybe run sometimes when I was walking. And as I was beginning to get lots of energy. So now and again, I would do a quick sprint from lamppost to lamppost, and then walk again. I was beginning to love it. I shot my mouth off in the pub one night, after a few drinks, that I could run the 10-mile loop, which one of my friends says, "You've got no chance." So I had to go out the next day and prove I'm wrong. I jogged 12 miles continuous to prove it, I could do it. I really didn't say anything that night I appeared at the pub, but I knew they knew because they had been watching my Runkeeper log. And I had done it. Yes. By chance, I saw Juice Master Jason Vale on a Sunday morning TV and how he had turned his life round with juicing. And I started to adopt the same morning regime. I regularly drink a pint of cold pressed juice every morning as the fuel my body needs to work at peak performance for the rest of the day. People say it's disgusting, but I tell you what, boundless energy. Somebody actually said, how on earth do you get up and you're all fired up at 5 o'clock in the morning? That's it. There's another thing though. My friend actually says to me, I always remember this, it was so funny. I used to say, how on earth are you so jolly in the morning? And he used to say to me, I get up in the morning, I feel my wrist, I've got a pulse, it's a good day. and that sticks in my mind. Thanks, Dave. Then one morning 2 years ago, I saw the Brownlee brothers taking part in a triathlon event on TV on early Sunday morning. And I thought, wait a minute, if I could cycle and I could run, all I needed to do was swim. And I remember I used to swim when I was younger as a kid. And I could maybe be a triathlete. Wow, this is mind-blowing stuff. If you'd said to me when I began that you might actually be able to be a triathlete one day, it would have scared me off. And I probably would have given up before it even started, as it was too much of a mountain to climb. Morning, Julie. Next came giving up the cigars, which was easy. If you know how to do this, as I've studied the technique over the years, how to give up all these things, it becomes so easy. And next came up giving up the booze. Really, it was getting in the way of my training on early weekend mornings. And I literally got up one day and I announced to myself, that's it. I'm not drinking anymore, I've had enough. And I stopped. Weird. I took up kendo for a wee while, and my instructor was a brilliant mentor. This is about the power of association, getting around the right people. People that have got a higher level than you, and you teach, you learn off of them, and have mentors. So he was a brilliant mentor, and he used to train me as an ultra runner. He was also a vegetarian, so he taught me how to eat and how to have a healthy diet. And I slowly started to transition over to a healthy eating plan. Well, I read up more and more about it and realised it is actually the healthiest option. How on earth did I get here? Well, I'll tell you, it was never really about the how to do it. It was always about the why to do it. This drove me to change my habits and thinking over time, not all at once. But it was baby steps. I started off with small goals and elevated to slightly bigger goals each time, not pushing myself too much, but not enough to make me feel that, but only enough to make me feel I was making a difference in my life. Each time I achieved a goal, I had another one lined up. That's really important, to have another one lined up when you achieve your goal. If you've got nothing lined up, then what will happen is you'll lose sight of where you're going and you'll probably just give up and sit down again. I often reflect on the past to celebrate how far I've come as well, because you don't realise how far you've come. Morning, Sam. And I learned to stop beating myself up every time I didn't make it. And over time, these small improvements compounded to an overall shift in everything I did. One thing I stopped doing, and this is a really important thing, I stopped comparing myself to other people. But that's another story. As I became better each time, I began to see a lot more of what I could do, while I was still reading books on areas I wanted to improve my life. It wasn't easy, as it often took a lot of discipline, but when you don't achieve what you want, just step back and refocus again. If you never give up, you can't lose. It only becomes a matter of time before you actually win. Running has taught me this. If you can't run anymore, then walk and run again. Or just keep walking. Remember, if you want to change some things in your life, you really need to change some things in your life. Maybe it's time for you to let go of your old self and be honest. If it's not been working for you up till now, after all, the only way's up. So don't hold on to your past. Let it go. Start making small changes. Don't try anything too drastic at once. Do something simple each day that you'll hardly notice. Baby steps, that's all it is. That compounds over a period of time that'll make a drastic difference in 2 or 3 years' time. But you'll never even notice the small improvements you're making in between because it's so simple. Your past does not have to dictate your future. And it's in your hands. For some people, that's quite frightening. Morning, Craig. So grab it and hold on to it and don't let go. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.